Howdy booktube, Nikki here with a brand new video. It has been a while, my bad, but I'm back finally with the wrap up of the books that I read in July. Now I didn't actually read that many books in July, and I will tell you why. That rhymes. So I didn't read a lot in July because I was in America. I went to Los Angeles, I went to VidCon, and I went to New York City, and it was all very exciting. VidCon especially was amazing because I met a heap of booktubers, people that I already subscribed to, and new people who I'd never heard of, but I was like, hey, you're a cool bean, and now I'm subscribed to them because they're cool beans. So it's all very exciting, but didn't leave a whole lot of room for reading, so I only read 3 books, but I'm going to tell you what they are, and then I'm going to tell you what I plan to read in August. Also, side note, it's August. When did that happen? Presumably after the end of July, but anyway, despite not reading a lot in July, the books that I read I really enjoyed, so I'm psyched to share them with you now. That's a bit weird. I don't know what I'm doing. The first book that I read in July was The Great Zoo of China by Matthew Riley. I haven't read Matthew Riley before, but he's a pretty big Australian author. I've been meaning to read one of his books for a long time. A lot of people were raving about this, so I picked it up and I was not disappointed. It was pretty awesome. So basically it's about a zoo in China that has massive dragons. Massive flying dragons in a zoo? What could go wrong? This is basically Jurassic Park with dragons, and it is unapologetically just a blockbuster. This book looks like a bit of a chunker, but it reads really fast and the font is pretty big as well. So it took me no time at all to read, which was really good because I had no time between planning everything and packing. Important things to note about this book: it doesn't go for realism. This kind of reminded me of video games like Uncharted or Tomb Raider, where the character has been shot 50 times and broken probably all of their ribs, but they're still going somehow, and you don't care because you just want to get past the next bit to see what happens. There's a lot of crazy action and it's an adventure and you just kind of roll with it, but the book is really good at just sweeping you up. Like any blockbuster, it's kind of not focused on character growth or relationships or uncovering the meaning of life, but I didn't really hold that against this book because that would be like judging Transformers 2 for not shedding light on the political situation of Nepal. It's not really what it's trying to achieve. Something that did annoy me about this book though was with Matthew Riley's writing, it kind of surprised me how many times he used exclamation points and italicized stuff and used phrases like, when suddenly the dragon ripped off the guy's head. Well, if your head is getting ripped off by a dragon, it's kind of obvious that that's a sudden thing. Unless he does it really slowly. Oh, I'm just gonna put my jaws over your head there for a bit, real slow. I feel that at that point, Matthew Riley isn't trusting me, the reader, to be able to feel sufficient shock at somebody getting their head ripped off by a dragon. Like, his writing doesn't need it. It's annoying. Like, usually that kind of thing is like a nitpick. It's like, it's a little bit annoying, but he does it so much that I actually took off an entire star. I gave it 4 stars instead of 5 because his writing got really tedious to read. I was like, yep, I get it. Please stop italicizing phrases. Like, I don't need that in my life. Thank you very much. I got it. But other than that, it was a very exciting read. I totally recommend it. I'd like to read more of his stuff now. I just need to take a break and get over all the exclamation points because why? The next book that I read was also the first read of a new author, and that was Steelheart by Brandon Sanderson. I've heard heaps about Brandon Sanderson. He's all over BookTube, people reading the Mistborn trilogy. Basically, in this story, 10 years ago, there was an event called the Calamity, which gave some people superpowers. But instead of like putting their underwear on the outside and being all like, for truth, justice, and the American way, they were like, oh, money, power, and also just being evil. They turned evil, they were villains, no one can stop them, so the world has kind of gone to crap. They call these evil, superpowered baddies epics, and pretty much people are powerless against them. But there's a group called the Reckoners who are trying to take them down one by one, and this story follows a boy named David. He saw his father killed by an epic called Steelheart when he was a boy, and now he wants revenge on Steelheart, and he's trying to find the Reckoners to help him do that. So this pretty much follows what happens when he finds the Reckoners, and it's not exactly what he expected. I really enjoyed this. I thought the world building was really great. One of the things I liked most about this book was the character character of David. He wasn't like your average angry guy who just wants revenge. He was like, I'll smile when I die. No, he was really like funny and nerdy and a bit charming, and I really liked how believable he was. He's also pretty smart and witty, so it was very fun to read some of the dialogue. Also, the plot was really exciting because there were points where you were like, ooh, I wonder if this thread, like if I pull it, will I uncover this other thing? And sometimes I was right about stuff and sometimes I was wrong. Other times I was completely blindsided by plot twists that I did not see coming. I really enjoyed this book, definitely plan on reading the sequel and reading more of Brandon Sanderson in general. I gave it 5 stars, I believe, because it was great. It's one of my favorites. I love it. The last book that I read in July was a super short one, and that was the third book in the series of Unfortunate Events by Lemony Snicket, The Wide Window. This series, of course, is about the Baudelaire orphans. They are 3 siblings who become orphaned in the first book, and then their life just turns into a crap sandwich. This is the third book, The Wide Window, and they get sent to live with someone who's literally afraid of everything. I definitely enjoyed it. I love the narration in these books. I like the moody tone it's got going on, but at the same time the characters are still really close, and the siblings are really like smart, and their characters are fully formed. It's not just like, oh, this is a sad book about sad stuff. I have read up to this point. I'm not sure if I've read further than this point. I think I've maybe read a few more in this series as a kid. I will eventually reach a point though where I haven't read the next book in the series, so I think at that point I'll be able to see how it stands up as reading it as an adult for the first time. But for now, I mean, it's just like a reminder of why I loved it as a kid. It's definitely a middle grade series that I would recommend. I think I gave this one 5 stars as well. Probably. Am I gonna check? No, because I'm lazy. Oh my gosh. Oh, I dropped the book. It's karma for being lazy. So those are the 3 books that I read in July. I enjoyed them all. I'm hoping to have just as good a month in August. I have started a few other books that I plan to finish. So I'm going to tell you now what my TBR is for August. Dun dun dun! So in July, before I left, I started Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. Yes, I'm also the last person on the planet to read this book, because why not? And I am really enjoying it so far. Actually, since I came back, I've only had little amounts of time to read between unpacking and recovering from jet lag, but it reads so fast, so I definitely plan on finishing this very soon. I'm over halfway, so that should happen quite quickly, because it's a really good book and I'm really enjoying it. And the other book that I started was Air of Fire by Sarah J Maas. This copy is just so trashed. I took it because I knew I had a hardback copy as well, and I was like, I'll read this on the plane, because I had like a bunch of flights. I had 2 13-hour flights and 2 5-hour flights. I didn't end up actually reading on the plane very much at all, because I was either sleeping or trying to sleep or finally watching Mad Max Fury Road. Yes, I've seen it now, because it was on the plane. I tried a few times to get into it, but I was just like in travel mode and my mind was a million places, so I couldn't really get into it until I got back, and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna read while we wait in this line to go through like customs and re-entering the country. And then I got hooked, and I'm trying to like read it while going through this line, and I was like, why now? I could have been into this ages ago. Anyway, so I'm not very far into it, as you can tell. But I plan to finish this month. I know that her next book is coming out really soon, and I want to read the novellas as well, The Assassin's Blade, which I have soon. But I'll definitely finish this one this month, because I want to. Outside of that, I haven't actually set a huge TBR for August, because I'm getting back into the swing of things. I don't really know what I want to read, but as always, I want to do a TBR pick. So with the help of my trusty TBR jar, TBR2D2, I'm going to pick a new TBR book for this month. Got my hand in his gut. Okay, wait, I got one. It's blue, which means absolutely nothing, because taking the time to color code things. Oh, this is convenient. This is good, both because it's a good book and it's right behind me. I picked Scott Pilgrim by Brian Lee O'Malley. I have actually read the first couple of these before, but they're in the list of things that I want to reread because I want to finish this series, because I never have. I've read, I think, the first 3, so I'd like to start rereading them and then get the next ones. So that's good, because it's going to be a quick read. I really love Scott Pilgrim. It's quite funny. So that will be on my TBR list this month. Woo! Tell me in the comments below what you're going to read this month, or what you read last month, or what you're wearing tomorrow. I'm thinking of going with hoodie and jeans, but I feel like that's done. I'll have a haul coming soon because I bought some books in America. It was amazing. I'm gonna go finish unpacking and I'll see you next time. But in the meantime, just enjoy my colouring in skills. I didn't read on the plane. And apparently, I didn't colour in the lines either. Look at that. That's atrocious. I'm such a sham. Hashtag hair goals. Clearly.